welcome to a Tuesday in transit edition of Mornings. Okay, presented by Brock Batters Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotionsDark.com, and ProCharge EV. Go to ProChargeEV.com to learn more. Okay, Tuesday the 27th. Heading to traction, go get a workout in. And Tuesday, Thursday, Friday are my traction days. So 9 a.m. workout. And on this Tuesday, the 27th, LSU football Tigers are wheels up to Orlando, Florida. Kind of cool today because this is the day where it really feels like bowl season actually gets started. I know we've been having bowl games, but it's a lot of the lesser bowl games and things that you may only be interested in, like games at 11 o'clock in Boise, Idaho, just because you got a few bucks on the game there on the Smurf turf. But today, tonight, you got Oklahoma State, Wisconsin tonight, which will be interesting. You start to get some of the big boys rolling through. So I'll be probably just watching bowl games all day today. You got a quadruple header, 4 bowl games today, just boom, 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 like 11, 2, 5, and then 7 some point tonight, whatever. But anyway, so excited about that. A lot of bowl games tonight. Pels get a win last night. I did work against the Indiana Pacers, which was good to see. Big night for CJ McCollum, and I know. I get how some of that. The fan interest is going to be cyclical with that team. Whenever they won 7 in a row, people got very excited, and they lost 4 in a row, and people started to question, well, was it a fluke? No, it's the NBA. There's just, you play 82 games, there's going to be streaks. You're going to win 7 in a row, you're going to lose 4 in a row. The 73 win Warriors, and the 72 win Bulls are the only ones that avoid streaks like that, losing streaks like that anyway. So nice win for the Pels yesterday. As we anticipated, they would be able to go on a little streak now as the schedule lightened up. So it's a 3 in a row now after losing 4 in a row. So good on the Pels. I'm at a red light here, so say some good mornings. Fire away with questions. I'll get them as I can. Hunter Broadhead, Bubba Tatum, good morning. Tim Gotro, Shane O'Mac, Lucy B, FK, good morning. This year they will spell citrus without UT. Yes, they will. They haven't had to spell citrus with UT in quite some time, actually. Glenn Garner, Randall Alfrecht. More to match, see how toxic it was on the Broncos sideline during the loss of the Rams. I did. What Randall is referring to there, if you haven't seen it yet, is there was an offensive lineman that pushed back up quarterback Brett Rippon. What's interesting about perception, though? I was driving around yesterday and had ESPN radio on, and I don't know who it was, somebody filling in, one of the fill-in hosts for Greeny, and they were talking about how they could never remember seeing teammates shove a quarterback like that on the sideline. I'm like, I saw it happen during a game, the national championship game, when Alabama beat Notre Dame in 2012, January of 2013, the 2012 season. If you remember, it was 41-14 or something, Bama was blowing them out, and A.J. McCarron is on the field, like Barrett Jones, who was their All-America center and everything, messed up the snap count or something. They were up, whatever, and you could hear McCarron go, Barrett, and yelled at him, and Barrett just shoved A.J. McCarron on the field, But to the point about perception, right? When you're winning the national championship game by 30, it's man, look at how much they compete all the way to the last whistle. Every detail matters. Saban, the process. Blah, 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 blah. When you're giving up 51 to the eliminated from the playoffs Rams on Christmas Day, and then on the sideline, a lineman shoves the quarterback. Yeah, you're dysfunctional. You got to fire the coach and all that stuff. But yes, I did see it, and I'm less concerned about the player shoving the backup quarterback than I am giving up 51 to the 5-win Rams, now 5-win Rams, which is why I'm sure Nathaniel Hackett got fired. So that's interesting because Nathaniel Hackett getting fired, he's the Broncos coach, for those who don't know, was the Broncos coach. What's fascinating about him is this was his first season in Denver. He didn't even make it through the full season. And that's rare. That's only happened a few times. It happened with Urban Meyer last year. Happened with Bobby Petrino his season in Atlanta. But those dudes just left, right? Well, actually, Herb got fired. But Petrino just left to go back to Louisville. Anyway, my point is, I don't know what my point was. It doesn't really matter. Oh, look, a Tesla. So, see him on the road all the time. ProCharge EV. Sean Payton, his name came up a bunch yesterday because he's going to come up for every job. And I'm not sure Denver's a great fit for Sean Payton. Yes, you have Russell Wilson there, but you have no draft capital because you traded it to Seattle to get Russell Wilson. And you're in a division that has Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and I don't know whatever dysfunction is going on with the Raiders. So I'm not sure that Denver makes a lot of sense for Sean Payton. The report I heard yesterday was that Denver is going to make Sean Payton an offer, but I think everybody is, right? I heard it was maybe Jeremy. No, it was Mina Kimes. It was Mina Kimes who was talking about Carolina being a potential spot for Payton, but Steve Wilkes has done a really good job as the interim head coach, and he may get that job full time. And then also, remember the Saints retained Sean Payton's rights, so for 2 years, they don't have to let him go to Carolina. And I wouldn't let him go to Carolina. I wouldn't let him go within the division. So the other team that a lot of people had speculated about was the Chargers. Well, the Chargers, with their win last night over the Colts, punched their ticket to the playoffs. So hard to imagine they're going to be moving on from Staley after making the playoffs. All right. Let's see. Brett DeGrow, Weston Weaver, Jason H. Morning from the barbershop. Okay. Greg T, who's not liking the 4 bowl games? Greg, I texted out last night. He's not gotten back with me. I'm a little disappointed. Bill Gallion, Gregory Gordy, Damon Perkins, what's up? Jesse Post, Michael Costello. Bill Gallion, win streak 15-0, 20. That's football, Bill. Yes. That was a good football team. Von Bluesman, what's up? Glenn Garner, that hit last night in the Chargers game was nasty. Yes, it was. Brett DeGrow, who do you think wins the Sean Payton sweepstakes? So, Cliff Nelson, what's good, man? Brian Wynn. So, I went on record last week and said I think he's going to the Rams. And with so this sort of caveat, Sean McVay has said on the record that he does not see himself coaching until he's 60. And he got a Super Bowl last year, and then after they lost last week and were eliminated from the playoffs, he said this year was humbling. It was very humbling. Now, maybe Sean McVay is super motivated to come back and work really hard and get back into the playoffs and be a contender again. But last year, Amazon offered Sean McVay $100 million to join their broadcast, Thursday Night Football broadcast. $100 million over 5 years, so $20 million a year. That's pretty incredible. Coaching money is good. It ain't that. So, would Sean McVay leave the Rams, go into TV, and if so, the most obvious answer then would be Sean Payton, who he and his wife live in LA right now while he works for Fox. Reportedly likes being in LA, wants to be in LA. The Rams are a year removed from winning the Super Bowl. You will have Matthew Stafford back next year from injury. You will have Cooper Kupp back next year from injury. I would presume Aaron Donald would be back, but I guess he could retire. There are far worse situations than the Rams. So that's the one that I've said. I think Sean Payton. And now some of you have also rightly pointed out that the Rams don't have draft capital, which is true. They traded a lot of their draft capital to Detroit for Matthew Stafford. So it would have to likely be a future pick. But if you're the Saints, I think that's far more appealing than sending Sean Payton to Carolina. I don't know if Sean Payton would go to Carolina. So, Rams. The other one that's sort of obvious that people will mention is the Cardinals if they fire Cliff Kingsbury. Phoenix is a beautiful town. It's still out west. You don't have great ownership, but young quarterback in Kyler Murray, who will be coming off a torn ACL. You got some weapons there, man. Hopkins, and remember the trade for Robbie Anderson this year. So you got some dudes. Got some dudes. All right, red light. Can we get red light? Von Bluesman, Brian Wynn, Jacob Hibbert. Remember when Saints fans were clamoring for Russell Wilson to be Brees' successor? It seems we dodged a bullet. Jacob, I was one of them. Shoot, my hands in the air. I mean, you're talking about a guy that 2 years ago, at 32 years old, you felt like, watching Tom Brady play into his 40s and Brees play till 40, you felt like you had a good 5-year run. Russ probably had a good 5-year run in him that could have looked like the end. That's 17 to 21 of Brees. So heck yeah, man. I was in favor of bringing in Russ. They might have dodged a bullet with that one. Looks like it. We'll see what happens at Denver. I mean, the weird thing about Denver, though, is they have been a pretty stable organization for a long time. And I wonder how much of that is just you brought in a first-year head coach and, he couldn't hack it. Get it? Nathaniel Hackett couldn't hack it. Okay, we're at traction. I got 15 minutes, so we can just hang out for a little while if y'all want. Let's see. All right, let's see. Whoop. Well, maybe I'll just put it here. Maybe that's better. Brian Wynn, Matt, do you think Bama comes out flat in the Sugar Bowl since they didn't make the college football playoff? I do not, Brian. I think had they had a bunch of opt-outs, that was a very real possibility. But when you get Bryce Young and Will Anderson to play in that game, I think they're pretty sky high for it. I think Bama wins and wins easily. Irfan Sayad, good morning from a snowy North Georgia. Thank you, Cliff. Yeah, please smash that like button if you would. Jermaine Gordon, Gregory Gordy, Ali Gay opted out of the bowl. Yes, so Ali Gay, BGO Jalari, Jure Jenkins. I feel like I'm forgetting one more. Oh, Roy, Jaquelin Roy. That's right, 3 three of your four defensive line starters have all opted out. So if LSU is vulnerable in that game, start with the defensive line with no Gay, Roy, or Ojulari. So expect to see a lot of Savion Jones, Jacoby and Guillory, Mekhi Wingo. You probably see the freshmen too, young guys on that D line play. And Quincy Wiggins, I think, could be potentially big in this game, because I think, yeah, remember that's a guy who had played 4 games, was headed for a red shirt, but with the new NCAA rule, he can play and not burn his red shirt. So that's another dude. I'm not sitting here telling you he's going to like go have this incredible performance, but he's going to have to be part of the rotation. Cliff, is Tua done? Too many concussions. Not sure he makes it past next year. Listen, I'm obviously not a doctor. I'm not going to advise anybody on what to do with concussions, etc. But I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think everyone knows by now when you get a concussion, it's easier to get one the next time, especially when you come back quickly. So, like, Cliff, I mean, y'all know I love MMA. Those dudes are concussed in every fight. I mean, the amount of shots they take, head shots they take. I mean, especially when you watch in slow mo. I mean, you could see their head moves and their brain is likely smacking the side of their skull. They're getting concussed. Um, but if you only fight twice a year, not to say that it's okay, but again, adults that can make their own decisions. But you give yourself plenty of time to recover. Um, and that's really the very tricky part for Tua is when you're now getting concussions more easily and you're playing every week. Yeah, it's tough. I'm not gonna say he's done, man, Cliff, but you know they definitely got to take some precautions with him. That's 3 this year. Billy Mathern. I see there's a game coin scam out there. Yeah, be mindful of that. Y'all, I mention that often. It's worth mentioning again. So it's all Facebook. There are Facebook scammers that will go copy, and it's very common in crypto. They'll go copy the page, right, and try to get you to send a wallet address. No one at Gamecoin will ever ask you for your wallet address. So if you ever see that, please just take a second, click on that page, and you'll see it has 0 followers, 0 likes, because it's a scam page. They just try to mirror everything to make it look like the Gamecoin page. So yes, and if you ever see that, please report the page as a scam to Facebook so they take it down. Dalton Barnett, is Denver Harris coming in as a freshman or a sophomore? Wasn't sure if he was a redshirt this year. No, he played. But he did miss. You know what? Now that's a good question. I'm almost positive he's coming in as a sophomore. I'd need to go back and check, but he played. He sat out the Miami game, but then came back. He's got to be a sophomore. Yeah, I'll check, Dalton. It's a good question, but I think he's got 3. He's got 3 to play 3. And remember, no COVID year because his first year was this year. So the new players coming in, we've cycled past the extra COVID year. CJ Mistretta, good morning. How do you think is possibly next? Oh, out of the portal. Yeah, so a couple of the names that we've told you to keep an eye on. One is Jake Renfro, center from Cincinnati. Was the starter during their playoff run a couple of years ago. Missed this year with injury. He was obviously there with Mike Denbrock, and they could bring him in. That's certainly one worth keeping an eye on. And I don't know that he's committed anywhere or whatever, but let's see. Stephen Miller, good morning. Late to the party. Surely Gay hadn't been practicing, has he? No, Ali Gay has not been out there. So Ali Gay, um, it's just that some of those guys didn't announce or didn't state in their announcement if they were playing or participating in the bowl game. So, but Ali Gay, B.J. Ojolari, Jaquelin Roy, Jeray Jenkins, those four are out and have not been going through bowl practice. Let's see. Dalton Barnett, very true, Matt. Winners of USC fights still go to the hospital after. Yes, they do. Tyler Alexander, good morning. Sean Comiskey, almost lost my recovery phrase, but got my Trust Wallet uploaded. Good. Remember, tree stays up till January 6th. Yes. Our tree is still up. It's hanging on, Sean. It's hanging on. Weston Weaver, I think you said the other day, but do you think LSU will be predicted to win the West next year? So Weston, I think I don't know what will happen with the media in, when we go to SEC Media Days. SEC Media Days next year, by the way, I believe is in Nashville. But so it's Nashville or Dallas? Pretty sure it's Nashville. I don't know what the media will predict, but if you're going to look at like Vegas odds, the Vegas odds may lean to Bama just because they know they're anticipating how the public will bet. The public will bet with Bama. But I do think there's a strong case to be made for LSU to win the West. And LSU's East opponents are Florida, of course, and I believe it's Missouri. I think we looked that up. And Bama gets Tennessee and Kentucky. Home against Tennessee at Kentucky. So schedule matters. LSU's gonna have to go to Bama, but you're gonna get A&M, Florida, and Auburn all in Baton Rouge. You'll go to Bama and the Mississippi schools. So, and you'll go to Missouri, but that's manageable. I just look at Bama and losing Bryce Young. Look, they've been able to cycle through that, right? Losing great players under Nick, but there's just always a big question when you lose your quarterback. Who's going to be that guy, especially when it's a guy like Bryce Young, who without Bryce Young this year, man. I mean, Texas was a 50-50 game. A&M, when they were without Bryce Young for that game. LSU, of course, they lost. Tennessee, of course, they lost. I mean, they played some tight games this year with Bryce Young, And I know Bryce Young, Will Anderson. I get it; they signed a great class, but A&M signed a great class last year. How did that go for them? Sometimes you need those young guys to get experience. So anyway, roundabout way, asking about will they be predicted to win the West? I guess it depends who you're asking. Like, well, Vegas will probably have Bama just because they know how the public's going to bet. All right, let's see a couple more. Steven's supposed to have a cornerback from UVA visiting LSU next week when the team gets back from the bowl game. Dalton Burnett knew he was suspended. Didn't know if that took away your eligibility, but he played. He played. It wasn't the suspension. He played. That wouldn't matter because that was an internal suspension, right? It wasn't an.
Is my audio back now? Can you hear me 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 now? Okay. I don't know what happened there. That was weird. Okay. Interesting. Anyway, Steven had commented about LSU or Bama next year, and I guess my point was, it's tough to say because I don't know every position by position what Bama has coming back. Like, I know if you're trying to poo-poo LSU, you'll say, yeah, well, you're losing your 3 best defensive linemen, your starting linebacker, who was your leading tackler this year, and everybody in your secondary. So it's like, man, you got to remake the whole defense. Well, we can also look at it and say, yeah, but we kind of know who's coming back. So I don't know that specifically Bama. I'm just looking at, you lose Bryce Young from a Bama team that played a lot of 50-50 games as it is, and, you know, I don't know who's going to be starting for Bama next year. I don't know if Milroe will be the guy, or if, they go play one of their good young recruits, or if they hit the portal for somebody. I don't know. But, Milroe was pretty dynamic athlete, but, and look, I mean, you saw him like in the Arkansas game. He had a couple of 70-yard touchdown runs, but oh shoot, it's 9 o'clock. I gotta go. All right, my bad, y'all, for the abrupt ending here, but I do have to go. So y'all have an awesome day. Shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV. If you're watching on Facebook, please go follow all the ProCharge accounts. I know they set up all those. That's if you missed it, EV charging stations. That's electric vehicle for those that don't know. Terrio made that announcement Friday on AFR, and I'm certain that I'm going to be promoting ProCharge. So want to get a jump start on it. So if you would go like all the socials, man, follow the socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that jazz. We'd appreciate it. So learn more. Okay, y'all have an awesome day. Peace.